What she fails to realize is she is the perfect long-term in debt to credit cards and other consumer debt, student loans. She is the perfect candidate. She sees herself as in control. She values the fact that, hey, I don't really have debt. That's how she sees it. Okay? She sees it as, I don't really have debt because look, I can control my credit cards. No, you can't. Happy Labor Day, folks. It's hitting almost 7 o'clock here on Monday. No school today. It's storming outside again, of course. This is Tampa, so I thought I'd go ahead and grab about 4 or 5 TikToks and go over them with you. I will say, this channel, people seem to like the TikTok commentaries, so I will continue doing them. A really quick thing for those who may not know, I was looking at this on YouTube, and there's question from YouTube creators about whether or not if we pull TikToks and we put them on YouTube, can we still get monetized? Can you still get paid for it? Most circumstances you can. I can tell you that my TikTok compilations, where I put one TikTok after the other, they've all been monetized. I haven't done that many, but none of them have been demonetized. They've all been monetized. But the key, if you're a YouTube creator, is you must transform the video. Nothing new that, most creators don't know, but sometimes creators have a hard time figuring out, what does transformation means? It means you basically take a TikTok. Yes, you pull it from TikTok, you put it onto YouTube, but then you take it and you find a way to make that TikTok all yours. And I treat the TikToks very much like I do the Dave Ramsey Show, and that is I give you my in-depth thoughts and commentary on it, thereby transforming it. So if you're a creator or you're wondering, do YouTube creators, are we able to pull the TikToks and get paid for them? Yeah, we actually can. All right. Under most circumstances, not all. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first TikTok. All right. And I want to thank you for joining me. We got about 4 TikToks we're going to look at. All right. Let's hit it.
I have over $80,000 in debt as a 23-year-old. I have about $50,000 to $60,000 in student loans, about $15,000 to $20,000 in credit card debt, and about $5,000 to $6,000 in medical debt from having my gallbladder removed last year.
Okay, I want to stop right there. All right. She has more debt than I had, but then I went bankrupt at 23. However, I want you to consider something. She says she had her gallbladder removed, and I'm so sorry, all right, to the young lady for having to deal with that, all right? But let's talk about the money, not the unfortunate surgery, okay? She's got around $50,000, $60,000 in debt. First off, she's 23, so that puts her about 18, 19, 21, 2. She's only 5 years out of high school. 5 years out of high school looking at this level of debt. 5 years. The other thing is this. Well, the $6,000-$7,000 gallbladder surgery is definitely unfortunate. Imagine for a moment if she didn't hold the other $50,000 or so debt. I think she said she had 50, 60. I listen to a lot of these, and sometimes, folks, I will be honest, my brain has, sort of a little ADHD, and I kind of forget exactly what numbers I've heard. I hear so many. Okay? But let's imagine she didn't have the 50 grand or so in debt. Now then, would the $6,000-$7,000 gallbladder surgery procedure be as overwhelming? Unfortunate to have to go through it, unfortunate to have to pay it, but it would not be as overwhelming. A lot of the times what happens, and I'm speaking from my own experience, you put yourself in debt with the fun stuff, the things you want to do. But then when the things come that you really don't want to pay for, but you have to pay for, medical procedures, car repairs, emergency things like that. In my case, my knees, all right? I've had to do a lot of, my deductible is like $1,500 a month. Thank God knees are basically covered by insurance, including knee replacement, okay? But still, all right? That's $1,500 a year. Almost every year I've spent on my knees since 2018. Yeah, do the math on that. These mandatory bills are so much more difficult if you have the fun bills that you've charged up to go along with it. And while we know these things, just because we know them doesn't mean that we put it into practice.
As a 23-year-old making $51,000 a year, it's obviously very daunting trying to pay off this amount of debt, especially with how insane interest rates have been on my student loans and everything. And
she has as much debt as she makes. She basically has as much debt as she makes. Remember, guys, she's 23. But then, like I said, I was bankrupt by 23, 24. This is how much financial damage can occur to us from the time we leave public school and throw our graduation, high school graduation hat in the air, to the time we hit our early 20s, 5 years later. And that's if we don't have a kid on top of it. Remember that story we did, family, not too long ago? That young guy, he's 23, has 3 kids, married, $250,000 in debt. I will try to remember to link that. I will see if I can remember to link that. I may forget. I forget, but I'll try to remember to link that. That was a pretty interesting story if you haven't heard it.
And minimum payments and things like that.
She's talking about minimum payments on the credit cards. And here's the other thing, how many of us, when we're that young, I remember, and I've discussed it on this channel, I've discussed it with you guys, I really thought minimum payments were set up so that I could pay it off. Why would a bank charge me a minimum payment if it was never going to be enough to pay the bank back? Well, that's because I had no concept of paying interest on the interest, and the bank wants to keep you in debt. But now if you look on the back of credit cards, if you carry a balance, I haven't carried a balance on a credit card in years, and I mean years, okay? But if you carry a credit card balance, they are now legally required to show you how much interest you will pay for how many years it will take to pay the credit card off.
I just spent willy-nilly, like in college and stuff, and racked up credit card debt and needed loans to help get me through each semester and everything like that. So it is just added up. And now I'm done with school, and luckily I'm living at home, and I'm so grateful for that. But
yeah, think of the students that don't always have a home to go to, or if they have a home, the situation is so bad that home is worse than sleeping in a car. And remember that Ramsey episode? I think we did it this past summer. Young lady sleeping in the car in she was in Phoenix, sleeping in the car because going home to, I believe it was New York or someplace on the East Coast, was worse.
My goal is to pay all of this off as soon as possible, hopefully within the next couple years.
Couple of years. And that's living at home, where I'm assuming she's not paying rent, electrical. If she's able to pay this off in a couple of years, and out of $50,000 income, she should. But see, what we forget, folks, when we spend all this money, it's like vacation. The trip goes so fast, but then how you pay for the trip is kind of like the hangover afterwards. It's like, yeah, you got to pay for that trip. You got to pay for all those fun things you did during college. I think what's sad is I came out of college and was bankrupt. I didn't even go on fun trips. It's not like I could say, hey, I went to Cancun and then I got to go visit Mexico, and I didn't go anywhere. I didn't go anywhere over the, internationally. I didn't travel. It's not like I had anything to show for my bankruptcy over credit card debt, except to say, hey, I think I bought some Rubbermaid totes. I probably bought some new school clothes, some shoes. I can't even remember. But I can tell you one thing I didn't do. I didn't go on any fancy trips. I didn't buy a car with it. At least it would be nice to be able to say, yes, I went bankrupt because I bought my dream car, or I went, well, wait, that happened in my 30s. But you know what I mean? It's like, it was little stuff. And just like she's saying here, it's your everyday stuff. But boy, does that everyday stuff add up.
It doesn't take me until I'm 40 years old to buy a house or anything like that. So
she doesn't even need to worry about a house, honey. You don't need to worry about a house right now, okay? You don't need to worry about it. Let's just get out of mom and dad's basement and get out of debt.
Using this to hold me accountable because I buy stupid. I do, for no reason. And I need to not spend money.
I have $70,000 worth.
Okay. This gal here, before we start, all right, and if you watched the TikTok broke video that I did yesterday, family, I am trying to put on a kinder, softer, gentler side with these young people. This isn't quite the tone. Well, actually, it's nowhere. It's not the tone I take with the Dave Ramsey calls, okay? But then I feel like I'm talking more to adults, that to many extent, should know better. Or, I don't feel like these are young people just fresh in the world of adulthood that need maybe a little bit more kinder, gentler tone. So on these TikToks, I try to put on the kinder, gentler ears, okay? Less of the cat claws, all right? So this gal is going to take us down the rabbit hole. And I will be totally honest, I had to listen to this twice. Not because I didn't think it was good enough for my channel. It's delicious. We're just going to go down the Rabbit in Wonderland. Is it Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole? And you're going to see what I'm talking about. So she starts here with, it says on the screen, for those who may not be looking at the screen, the screen says, I have, oh, you know what? I think I moved my camera. Hold on. Let me move this back a little bit. Everybody just hold. Hold on a second. All right, there we go. I like my presentations to look good for you guys. All right. It says here, she says on her screen, I have 6 credit cards while being in $70,000 debt. Let me repeat. I have 6 credit cards while being in $70,000 debt. This is her logic. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Worth of debt, but I have 6 credit cards and I still use them. And that angers a lot of people.
I don't think it angers people. I think when people say, oh, people get angry because I'm doing this, I got to be honest, I don't think anyone cares. I own 12 credit cards, just about 12. Yeah, I have a whole lot. Okay. Credit score, of course, well over 800. And balance on the credit cards, 0. It's not my money. It is not my money. Okay. At this point, it's just a game for me. It's just one big old game. So she has 6 credit cards. She owes $70,000. Now we're going to hear her justification as to how she sees herself as really good at managing money. In fact, I'll even go a step further and say she sees herself. No, I meant to say I'll go a step farther. I'll go a step farther and say she sees herself, I'm going to interpret it almost as debt-free. Yes, with $70,000 in debt.
Majority of my debt is my student loans, and then I have one personal loan that I'm paying off.
Okay, so we have a major student loan, the majority, and a personal loan
that I owe about like $5,000 on.
Okay, so she's all good with this. All right, student loan and a personal loan.
So it's not like credit card debt. I'm not in insane credit card debt, and I do use my credit cards wisely. And
okay, we're starting to go down the rabbit hole. So she says she doesn't have any credit card debt. And she's very proud of herself on that. And you know what, young lady? I'm proud of you on that too. I'm glad you don't keep any credit card debt. Proud of you. But there's a problem.
What people don't know is I've had credit cards since I was 18 years old, and I have never, except for the past year, have left a balance on it and gained interest. I have always, no matter how much I spent, paid it off in full at the end of the month. Except for this past year where I was unemployed and I still had to live and buy food and pay for bills. So that's what I had to use. So that's what I'm paying off. But other than that, I still am now, to this day, paying off the bill in full every month. And if you can do that, then you should have credit cards because they help your credit score a lot. They're great for emergencies. My cat had to have a $6,000 surgery and I was able to do it because I had a credit card with a line large enough to cover it.
Everybody just stop. We are deep into the rabbit hole. On one hand, and I'm putting on the kinder, gentler ears because I understand these are younger people, okay? So, working on that. She has a cat that had a $6,000 emergency. Now, she keeps saying, I pay this credit card off every month. I pay this credit card every month. Unless you're taking home $6,000 a month unless you were able to somehow or another pay off your credit card while you were unemployed for a while. I'm not quite sure how you're paying your credit card off every month. And let's put the credit card thing aside, because she's very, very proud of the fact that she feels she has controlled her credit card. There's also the student loan, which you can't go bankrupt on. There's also the debt owed for a personal loan. It's kind of like and again, I'm not faulting her, all right? She sees herself as very responsible with money. So responsible that she is advising you, dear family, that you should have credit card debt too under these circumstances. Now, look, again, I admit I went belly up on credit cards, no secret. But knowing what I know about credit card debt, she is actually doing exactly what the credit card companies want. Now, I want you to hear me on this. She started using credit cards very young, 18. Welcome to the club. She's not the only one. She initially has had total control of it. Matter of fact, she probably initially had no debt at one point when she started the credit cards. Then she started this thing called student loans. Student loans, and you've heard me say it many times, it's nothing more than a credit card under the name what? Student loan. It's non-bankruptable. Then she has a personal loan. So that means somewhere or another, she's so proud about not taking out credit card debt that she went to a third party for a personal loan, but still maintaining the status of, I don't have any credit card debt. But then unemployment happens. A cat, a luxury. And if you watched the TikTok broke video yesterday that I did, I talked about how pets are a luxury. $6,000. $6,000 for emergency. That goes on the credit card. What she fails to realize is she is the perfect long-term in debt to credit cards and other consumer debt. Student loans. She is the perfect candidate. She sees herself as in control. She values the fact that, hey, I don't really have debt. That's how she sees it. Okay? She sees it as, I don't really have debt because look, I can control my credit cards. No, you can't. No, you can't. What did you run to when you were unemployed? Did you have savings? No, you ran to your credit card. What did you run to when your luxury cat, meow, okay, I'm into pets too. I mean, look at, okay, all right, clearly, all right. What did you run to when your cat needed emergency surgery? Your credit card. This is what the credit card companies want, and they want you doing it young, and they want you believing that you got it all under control. So here she is being sucked into the credit card lifestyle, but she's very proud. She is so proud and so confident of what she's done that she's saying you should do the same thing. But what she dismisses so easily is her student loan is about 70% of my condo. My condo was $100,000. She owes $70,000 between student loans and this other family member, whomever it is she owes. The inability to see when you are actually turning into, I don't like to say victim, but her age, her inexperience, this is what the credit card companies want. They want you to believe that when you have an emergency, you run to the credit card company. Because eventually, what are you going to do when you have kids? And then your kids need an emergency. You're not, I can pretty much guarantee her, she's not going to be able to run to her credit card, put thousands of dollars on it, and then just have it paid off. And I really challenge that she was able to pay off that $6,000 medical in 1 month. I mean, maybe she did. Maybe that was a personal loan she had to take out. I don't know. You can't credit yourself on part of your debt control, so to speak, while dismissing the other debt. It's like when we listen to the Ramsey Show family and people will say things like, oh, I have no debt except a $400,000 mortgage. I have no debt except this student loan. They congratulate themselves on the part of the debt that they can control or they feel like they're controlling, while simultaneously dismissing the debt that's the real issue. And the real issue in this case are the student loans. Forget the credit card bill. If worse came to worse and she had to file bankrupt on it, she could. She can't do that on the student loan. It's the student loan she should be focusing on. But that is not going to be focused on because that's the part that she feels is out of control. Yeah, she may not say it, but I can say it for her.
And I'm using them for things that I'm already buying, and like gas and bills and such like that.
She's talking about how she's using the credit cards for things she's already buying. This is, to the credit card companies, they've succeeded. This young lady has the credit card mindset. Okay, you know, family, I'm actually gonna, this is a really short video. This section is pretty short. So I apologize for the pauses and stuff, okay? But she's, like I said, you feel like you're crawling down the rabbit hole. At least I do. She is literally congratulating herself for having what she feels is control of her money. But in reality, she is doing with her money exactly what the credit card companies want her to do. Use it for everything while running up debt in other areas. See what I'm saying? I use my credit card for everything, but then I'm not holding on to $70,000 worth of debt anymore for student loans, which was $110,000. Thank you to the taxpayers for saving my butt, okay? And I'm in my 19th year of teaching, and may I continue to serve the public well and to the best of my capabilities, okay? She doesn't realize she is exactly what they want. She has it completely justified. I don't like my bangs looking like that. She has it completely justified as to why she uses credit cards and how this is just part of everyday. Hey, you know, I use this for all the stuff that I would normally get. Would you normally have a $6,000 cat emergency? I think the answer to that is no. But what did you run to? The credit card. There, they got you.
That I am now getting cash back and free rewards because of it.
Stop. Cash back and free rewards. Yes, every card that I use has cash back. I have American Express. I think my cash back on that is a couple hundred each year. All right. Here's the thing with cash back, and she's failing to see this. It's only good if you pay your credit card off each month. And if she says she paid off the emergency surgery at $6,000, I'd really like to know how she did it, because I'd also like to know, and I know, you know, she doesn't say it, but what's the $5,000 personal loan for? In other words, the control of the money is not there. It's sort of a delusional sense of control. Cash back when you owe 60 whatever thousand, 50, 60,000 on a student loan, your cash back is squat. It's like people, and we saw this in a Ramsey show not too long ago. I think it was just one of the last videos that I did. Okay, guy says, hey, you know what? I've got $20,000 in savings, but he also owes $20,000 on the Harley. You have zero in savings. She says, hey, I've got cash back. See how good this is? What's your student loan interest? How much is that each month? What are you doing to tackle that down? You're not making a dime. This is where credit card companies look at someone like her and they go, we have a fresh young lady. She's gullible, and she's going to be good to victimize for the next few decades at least.
So if you believe that you would be responsible enough to have a credit card and pay it off every single month, then I implore you to look and get one, because it's very beneficial.
You're going to take this from a 23-year-old with $70,000 in student debt and $5,000 in personal loans and uses her credit card thinking cash back is great when she's got debt in other areas? I wasn't ever fooled about cash back. I mean, like I said, I use credit cards, obviously. All right. I have probably close to a dozen. I only use one. Okay. Because it's best to accrue cash back on just one card, no annual fee. But is she qualified to tell you how to use a credit card? Just asking. What is it, like the Dave Ramsey show we saw the other day? Some guy, he's like, when a 30-year-old goes to a 23 financier for advice, what do you expect? She's proud of herself. And looking through her POV, point of view, I can see this thing at 57, I can see why she's actually proud of herself. I actually can. But with the age and experience I am now, I look and I go, it's total delusional. And then to recommend that other people follow your lead. The control is, she doesn't have the control like she thinks she does. But I understand from her point of view why she feels, or I should say her perspective. I understand why she feels like she has control.
Could really help you in the long run. I have $70,000 worth of debt.
I intentionally repeated that beginning part on there just to remind you. She's the one telling you how to spend your money. Just a thought. Okay, this next one I had to turn off the god-awful TikTok music. You want to know where some bad music is, just go to TikTok. I'm just going to go ahead and read this, okay? Says on the screen, okay, because the girl, the woman in here doesn't talk. The screen says, okay, real question. How are these people getting into tens of thousands of dollars of debt? I have never been able to have more than 2,000 to 3,000 of available credit card debt. Of available credit cards. Who is handing out these 50,000 credit cards? It's not like these people are responsible or have a good credit score. I mean, they're in debt, but yet they have banks in their lives just opening up new credit cards for them. Make it make sense. All right, sweetie pie. Big sister here to the rescue, all right? Because I just can't think of myself as a mother, much less a grandmother, even though I'm 57, okay? Because I don't have kids. So I just refer to it as big sister, okay? It's really easy. Most young people, and older people too, when you get a credit card, you might start out with just, sometimes even in the hundreds, like 500, 1,000. But what happens is if you actively use the card, in other words, the more you actively use the card, the more you do DO, the more you do carry a balance, the more you are capable of being able to make the minimum payments. In other words, you've been given a credit card. I might only have a 500, 1,000, okay, 2,000 if you're lucky, all right, credit limit on it. And you make the minimum monthly payment. That's key. Minimum monthly payment. And especially if you charge it up, you're maxing it up to near its level, but you're constantly making the minimum monthly payments regularly. You're the customer that they want. You are the customer that they want. And so what happens is in as little as, the next quarter, 3, 4 months, 6 months, a year, all right, they will start to bump you up by the thousands. So what was once issued to you as a $500 card went to $2,500, now goes to $5,000. In other words, the more you show that you are dependent on the credit card, the more you show that you are incapable of being able to pay the credit card off in full, all right, the more you can actually avoid late fees, because they want to see you making the minimum payments. They want to see you make it on time, okay? You're the customer that they want. The late fee business all comes in later when you're all maxed out, and then they're really just, they're just licking their chops going, ooh, we got her now with $10,000 in credit card debt and she can't, okay, all right. But that comes later. But the initial part, your available credit limit can skyrocket very quickly in just a matter of a couple years, and do that with a few cards, multiple credit cards. Like I said, I have about 10 or so. I know I have at least 10, okay? And their limits around 10 to 18,000 each, okay? They're pretty high. Like I said, though, it's not my money. It's not my money. So to me, it's like it doesn't even matter. I sometimes will put, something small from Amazon on it just to keep the card active. It's just, it is what it is. But I have total control over it. So it's just a game to me at this point. I've had what I would say is maximum control of credit cards for more than 10 years. So anyways, that's how. Now, in my case, I will admit it does get a little bit different when you get to the 800 scores and stuff, because that's what my credit score sits in. And it's been there now for almost a year. almost, it's maybe not quite a year, but darn close, okay? And what I find is with me, if I want to increase the limit, and I actively do increase them, okay? Like I said, it's just a game. I usually get major increases. Like a card can go from 9,000 to 18 if I call in. That's how you get these type of increases. But I have emotional control over credit cards, and I could burn every one. I wouldn't care. The only ones I really only use one, and that has, cash back. Otherwise, I don't use it. And I pay it off multiple times in a month. Okay, I don't pay it off once a month. I pay it off every paycheck, every 2 weeks. Clear it. That's how, young lady, people get into massive amounts of credit card debt. It's not given to them all at once. So remember this, family, young people, all right? The more capable you are of making the minimum payments on time, the more you run up the card closest to its credit limit. You're the person that they want. I chose the music instead of the TikTok stuff. You're welcome.
I get asked literally all the time how the hell I was able to accumulate $50,000 of credit card debt in like a 6-year span.
Right, I'm going to stop her for just a minute. If I could have, if TikTok, social media had existed when I was 23, 24, going bankrupt over almost the equivalent amount of credit card debt, around 23, 24. It's been a long time, so all I remember was in the mid-20s. If I could have made a TikTok at that time as to how the bejesus I got into that debt, this lovely, beautiful chick here, she'd be my spokesperson. Because this is exactly what happened. And she's adorably cute, and she's refreshing. Remember, family, I'm playing big sister role, okay? She's adorably cute. She's refreshing to listen to. She speaks with a certain innocence, okay? And I watched this, and I was like, this woman speaks for me. So let's hear it. I'm not going to stop this with a whole lot of interruptions, but I reserve the right to take it back. Because this is a couple of minutes, but she could speak for me.
And let me be the first to say, preface this by, I know I did not make the wisest decisions back then. 18-year-old me, 22-year-old me, running around with a credit card. I get it. I know. I don't need the hate.
Honey, ain't nobody hating you. In fact, I'm doing nothing but giving you love. Now I sound like Dave Ramsey, okay? Seriously, ain't nobody hating. And I've told people on this channel, my first credit card, yeah, I told you I wouldn't interrupt it. Hey, family, if you've watched my channel enough, we just kind of go with the flow, all right? But when I got my gold card, oh, guys, I'm telling you, I can't remember the day I got married. I remember the day I got divorced. It's true, absolutely true. That's when you know the relationship's not good. So I can't remember that date, but boy, I remember when I got my first gold card. I was all that. Okay, it felt like someone had just delivered me a Rolex. I was socially elevated. Never mind that I failed to see it was just one big ass marketing thing that I was falling for. I was elevated, uplifted. I swear the sky opened up, the sun was a little brighter, the sky was a little more blue. I had arrived. Jesus himself could not have, walked on water, and I would have been more impressed, okay? I was so impressed that I managed to land a gold card, and I had it by the time, I believe I was about 19. All right, because I was still in college, and I opened it up, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the gold card that I'd heard about on TV.
But so I was very naive. I'll do this in a couple part series, so it's not like a freaking TED Talk over here.
You go ahead and TED Talk, girlfriend. I'm right behind you.
But I was very naive with the fact of, I know I was going to be making more money, right? I was 18 years old, got my first job as a dental assistant, making $28,000 a year. But I was obviously spending way above my means. So when I got into $50,000 of debt, this was not like over a 1-2 year span. No, it started off small. My very first credit card, the limit was only like $250, right? And then as you start using it, they start to give you more credit. And then as you start to get more credit, you're like, oh, this is cool. Let me get another card. Oh, this one's got a cash back card. Let me get another card. And the next thing I knew, I had like 4 credit cards. I had like a Victoria's Secret card. I had an Amazon card. Like I had all these cards, okay? And I kept telling myself, I know I'm going to be making more money. I know I'm going to be making $100,000 a year. When I make more money, I'm going to pay these off. When I make more money, like I'm already going to live my life the way as if I was already making that kind of money.
And how many people do that? And you've heard me say with Dave Ramsey, when Dave Ramsey says things like, in 2 years, yeah, you should be going from 50 to 90,000. And what do I say, family? What do I say? Don't count on it until you've actually got it. I cannot sit and say, oh yeah, in 3 years I'm going to make another 5,000. I don't know that. I have no idea. And so people, and you hear it on the Ramsey show, okay? And I think that's a dangerous way to budget. I got myself debt free and got myself, in control with my money by only looking at what I made right now. What is on my paycheck right now? That is what I'm going to live by. But isn't she just adorable? I love her. This young lady. Go ahead, lady. Carry on.
Because I just knew it was inevitable for me. But what I did not realize is the more money I started to make, it didn't matter. That is when the big amounts of debt came in. I didn't have 50 grand of debt when I was 19, making $28,000 a year. No, when I started making over $100,000 a year was when it started to pile on so freaking fast. And again, it's because, looking back now, I know these were not the best choices, but I'm just telling you my story because it is what it is. And I hope somebody out there, well, I don't hope you can relate, but I hope
we can relate. And yes, we can relate.
It makes it relatable so you know that you're not alone, because sadly most Americans or most people in general are in some form of credit card debt. Could be only a couple $1,000s, could be $50,000 like I was.
When she says, hopefully you realize you're not alone, I'm going to be really honest. When I was going through this, and of course this was in the 90s, okay, 80s and 90s, long before social media, I don't want to play nostalgia, okay, but let me play it for just 2 seconds. I was 26 years old, working as a librarian at the Statesman Journal newspaper in Salem, Oregon. It was the first time I had ever logged onto the internet, okay? Until that moment, the only social world I had were the people around me. And going through bankruptcy, not having the money to even do things like go get a hot cocoa. I remember coworkers would literally say, Carrie, you want to go get some hot chocolate with us? I remember I told a coworker once, okay, who's on my Facebook page today, and I just adore her. Yes, even after all these years, okay. We're Facebook friends, all right. And I literally said to her, I don't have $2-3 to get hot cocoa. Yeah, that was $2-3 back then, not the $6 it is at Starbucks, okay. And she said, and I remember one point she was like, well, Carrie, it's just a couple dollars. I remember this conversation clear as yesterday, even after all these years. I was like 26, 27. Okay, I had just gotten done filing bankruptcy and stuff. And I said to her, no, really. I said, I don't have $2-3 for this. And she just kind of looked at me and she's like, you really don't? And I said, no, I don't have it. See, there was no, and of course she didn't laugh or anything like that. I think she was just surprised, but she was not in any way cruel, not even a little bit. She was just like, okay, But let me straighten my ears here. It felt very alone because during that time you couldn't just hop online and see all the shopaholics, see all the credit card debt, the student loan debt. There was no support network. So the fact that people have the support network today on social media can be advantageous as long as you don't listen to that chick that we heard. No, wait, I got to take on the kinder, gentler, big sister tone. It can be advantageous to have social media to get you through things like debt, as long as we're careful. And that young lady that we listened to 2 videos back with the $70,000 in debt between student loans, personal loans, all right? we probably don't want to listen to that. So we must be very careful and selective in who we choose to find credible on social media as we walk that labyrinth, okay, as we go through the labyrinth of, sorting out our debt.
But it wasn't like these big purchases that put me over the edge, right? It was a little bit here, a little bit there. And
Amen. Amen, sister. It's typically not big purchase. It's not like like I said, I bought the car. I went to Jamaica for 2 weeks. No, it's, I needed some new underpants and socks. All right. I needed a new pillowcase. And even if you didn't need it, you convinced yourself you needed it because you said you had to have it. It's little crap. It's the little stuff. It really is. That's why when so many people go broke, they ain't got nothing to show for it. Hey, at least I respect the people who have a house. Okay, at least when you go broke on the house, we can look at it and go, yep, that was too much house. That was too much car. No one ever looks and goes, yeah, you're right. That was too much, Hanes underwear. You shouldn't have bought that bathing suit. Nobody does that.
And I was only making my minimum payments for years. Again, I just kept telling myself, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to make more money. When I make more money, I'm going to pay this all down and it's not even going to matter. I'm going to laugh at this one day and be like, oh my gosh, thank God I was living my life because I made more money to pay it all off, right?
Yeah, you're working some minimum wage job and you just know that down the road you're going to get that extra dollar an hour. Well, that extra dollar an hour you got has already been spent in probably the interest you spent on the credit card. I'm telling you, family, this is me. This is me.
Like I said, that did not happen. When I did start to make more money, $60,000, $100,000, the bad money habits, the unhealthy money habits, my lack of having any kind of budget, knowing my expenses, living within my means was still out the window. I was just making more money and buying nicer.
Can't have swearing if you're going to be monetized. Just FYI. All right. For the most part. Okay. So, and you've heard me say this on the Ramsey Show. Don't forget Ramsey's. We're live streaming every Thursday. All right. At least pretty much every Thursday, unless I'm sick or something. Okay. Live streaming on Ramsey at 6:15 this Thursday. And I forgot to say at the beginning, so forgive me. But if you've made it this far, you might be half interested. We're going to talk for the pre-show. I'm going to talk about Brittany Peach. She's the young lady that filmed her layoff in January, and she's still unemployed today. And the only reason I even want to bring her up is because she gave an update about her being unemployed. I'm just going to share my thoughts on that. All right, so back on this, okay? But we've talked about on the Ramsey Show, when you file bankruptcy, and I've said it, okay? It doesn't make you better at debt management. All it does is clear the debt. That's it. You, as the individual, have to work on improving debt management. You, as the individual, have to work on your emotional control of debt. That's what you have to do. All bankruptcy does, all debt consolidation does, all that does is allow you the opportunity to start over, so to speak. But if you don't take that opportunity to start over and learn from your mistakes, then you're going to be right back into credit card debt or HELOC debt. You took all the credit cards, you ran up a HELOC, and you said, hey, I'm debt free, even though you didn't pay squat. You just moved the money into a HELOC, and then you ran up the credit card debt again. You see the vicious cycle. So she's absolutely right.
Instead of going to Starbucks, I was still going to my Starbucks every day. Not that that's bad. If that is what you love, if you know me, I'm a firm believer in buying things that truly make you happy. I call it spending in alignment with your goals, aligned spending.
Yes, but we must be very careful with that aligned spending. We must do it with intention. I think that's a Ramsey term. Intention.
But I was not doing that. I was buying things because I wanted to look a certain way. I wanted to fit in with a certain crowd. I wanted to, in a sense, oh, look at me. I'm 22, 23.
Oh, look at me. I got a gold card. You see, when I'm at the store and I lay down that gold card, doesn't that make you as the cashier smile? I used to think that crap. I used to believe that I was impressing the cashier woman or a man. Or usually it was a woman because I was shopped in women's clothes, okay? Not saying it couldn't be a guy, but I remember, I actually, let me tell you how detailed some of my memory is, okay? I don't remember a lot of the crap that I bought, but I remember going to Valley River Mall in Eugene. I was, just before, when the times were good and I had lots of room on my $5,000 gold card. Now, keep in mind that $5,000 gold card was just one of many cards because I went bankrupt on year 25. So that was just the catalyst to really get me going. And I remember buying a pastel blue and pink skirt. Very 80s, 90s style. Wouldn't be caught dead in it today, I'm sure. Okay. But, it was the style of the times, all right? I laid down my gold card. The only reason I remember that purchase, it was one of the first purchases I made with my gold card. And I remember I put that down on the counter. I really thought, I was like, well, I am all that. But if I really look back at it, I don't think the cashiers cared. I really don't think they did. But I cared because I was socially conditioned over, decade of commercials that the gold card is what I wanted.
Making $100,000 a year, let me look like it. Let me make sure I fit the bill.
All right, this is the last one, folks. This is just a quick, she doesn't talk. I'm just going to read the screen. This is the last one. All right, so here we go. She says, when your friend is complaining about how she can't find a decent man, but you have $40,000 of credit card debt trying to be a travel baddie on Instagram, and now you got to bartend at a sticky dive bar every weekend for 200 years to pay it off. Something I want people to think about that say, oh, I'm going to start an Instagram or I'm going to start a YouTube channel and make money off it and all of that stuff. If you making money requires you to go out and purchase every crap in town and bring it into your residence, I don't think you're going to be making a whole lot of money. Okay? And this is something, it's kind of like people who eat on camera, which I think is I don't even want to go there. But there are people who, binge eat on camera to fill a fetish, and their entire freaking income, their living is literally based off of killing their health or doing risky life maneuver things. Okay, that's how you make your money. Be careful about how you want to make your money on social media. And I hate to say it, folks, most people aren't going to make money on social media. Okay, the majority are not. As a matter of fact, so she says here she runs a $40,000 worth of credit card debt trying to be a travel baddie. I have always wondered, even though I've always kind of known the answer, how are these young 20, 25, even 30 somethings running around all over the country, all over the globe, I should even say, and they just have all this money? And I'm like, don't you have a day job to go to? And you really realize it's all being run off a credit card debt. And I'll tell you how hard it is to, hold on, let me pause that. I'll tell you how hard it is to make money on social media. Just to give you a little idea for those who think, well, I'm just going to quit my day job because, I'm going to become a social media star. Take YouTube, all right? Less than 8% of all YouTubers, as of, I think, 2024 records, less than 8% hit 1,000 subscribers. Now that does turn into a few million. Yes, it does. It turns into a few million, which sounds great until you realize it's against the backdrop of the entire freaking global world that less than 8% hit 1,000 subscribers. I just hit 1,000 subscribers in this summer 2024, and I'd like to thank each and every one of my subscribers personally for trusting my channel in your living room. It means a lot to me. It really does. But it takes a lot of work. It takes more work. And that was just to get me to 1,000. So, when you're going to when you say you want to be a travel baddie, you want to be an I haul in, whatever crap, I haul in all the stuff from the stores, perfumes, makeup, whatever it is you're doing. How are you going to pay for all that? Even if you try to do it as a business and you say, well, I'm going to get a tax refund on all this, tax deductible. It isn't as tax deductible as you think. So just think about it. It's something to think about. All right, folks. Don't forget Thursday is live stream. about 6:15. Time is subject to change depending upon when I get off work, but for the most part now, I have bumped up the live streams because I typically get off work Thursday now earlier. They cut down my hours a little bit, so that's cool. I'm just adjusting it. That's my part-time child care job where I watch the children after school. Okay, so live streams Thursday at about 6:15. You will know the exact time of the live stream when you see it in the thumbnail photograph. The actual photograph will actually tell you, not the description underneath, but the actual photograph. I will come home on Thursday and I will actually re-upload the thumbnail. That's the photos you look at when you go through YouTube and you're looking at the pictures, and that thumbnail on Thursday evening sometime around 5:30 or so will have the actual time, but I pretty much estimate it's at 6:15, so that's what I schedule it for. I'm Carrie. This is Consumer Debt Chit-Chat. I would like to thank you for spending your time with me on this channel. My time is up, and so is yours. Good night. Happy Labor Day.